Here we go. Are you ready for this? How many feel like somebody said no? Oh, go. I was going to say, Pastor, shame on you. I thought you said no. I'm not ready for another year. Well, as you know, today we're kicking off a new sermon series called The Great Reset. And this is not about a New Year's resolution. It's about refreshing and wiping away the way you've been doing things that haven't been working. So during Christmas, we slowed down, and it felt great for me and my family. And for whatever reason, we got hung up on playing the old Nintendo, right? NES. And we would play a game called Galaga. You remember Galaga? It's little spaceships. People are getting excited over here. Little spaceship that go back and forth, and he's shooting the alien bugs that are falling down or chasing after you or dropping bombs. Some of you are like, what is Nintendo? Here's Nintendo. Notice Nintendo has two buttons. It's either power or reset. And what I learned is this. While we were playing, I learned very quickly with Galaga that if you lose one life in the first stage, level 1, you're not going to make it to level 4. It's not going to happen. So after a few times of playing, we discovered that either we're going to have to shut her down, hit the power button, and give up, or we reset and try again. So guess what we did? Reset and tried again to keep 3 lives all the way up to level 4 to see if we can get past level 6. It was a big to-do, all right? Here's the reality. There's a lot of folks in here right now that are not hitting the reset button. You're hitting the power button, or you want to. You just want to shut down. You're like, I'm tired of trying. 2025 may have been a really rough year for you, and you're just spent. You're exhausted. You're running on empty. Well, I want you to know that we don't want you to power down. I don't want you to give up. I want you to stay with us and reset. I want to help you reset by looking at God's word on how to reset. A lot of you don't know how to reset because you're running on fumes. And to be honest, I can't help you with refreshing your marriage, renewing your mind, refocusing on your family, and reviving your heart, which is the next 4 sermons that we'll be diving into in the next 4 weeks, if we don't refuel your life. Because if we don't refuel your life, you are not going to be capable of focusing on your family and renewing your mind because you are so depleted. Running on fumes. You've been there, right? How many of you ever ran out of gas in your lifetime? Raise your hand. Be honest. 1 time? How about 2 times? 3 times? 4 times? Raise it high like you mean it. 5 times? Really? How many have ran out of gas more than 5 times? Wow. Take a look, folks. Now listen. I've ran out of gas not 5 times, not 8 times, not 10 times, not 12, not 15, not 20, not 22, not 25. Over 25 times in my life. Now, before you judge me, with your little critical eye, I want to explain why, all right? Give me a chance. See, when I was younger and I first was starting to drive, I drive whatever was given to me, and usually it was junk with a broken gas gauge. I didn't know how much gas I had, so I just prayed and went. That was one of the reasons why I ran out of gas so often. I had a broken gas gauge. I'll tell you another reason why I ran out of gas so often is because I was too busy to stop. I had a lot going on in my life, okay? I'm like, go, 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 go. So I just tin it. And I was lazy. That was the other reason. I just got lazy. I'm like, it's all right. It's not in the red zone yet. It's not that the letter E is not lit up yet. Or here's the other one. I would procrastinate. Like, I'll do it tomorrow. It's always tomorrow, right? I'm going to diet tomorrow. I'm going to get on track tomorrow. Well, I'll get gas tomorrow. And if you're married, you know how that is. Your spouse will end up getting you gas tomorrow, and it ain't you. That's the way it rolls. But here's here's where we're at as people. Often we run on empty and run out of gas in our life because of the same reasons. The gas gauge is broke. There's things in your life that are broken, and you don't even realize you're running on empty because you have so many things broken in your life. You can't see the reality that you are running on E. And then you've got other people that are simply going through life so busy with the hustle and bustle. They're like, I don't have time to focus on me. You know, there's too much going on. You think I have time to slow down and focus on my needs? Well, you have to. If not, you're going to burn out and run out. But we do it. And then, of course, you got the lazy ones. Like, yeah, another year, it ain't going to change for me. You know, I've had this addiction forever. It's sucking me dry, but whatever. It is what it is. No, that's lazy. Lazy. You can do this. You can refuel. You can get your life where it needs to be. Stop being lazy. And then, of course, you got the procrastinators. I'll see that counselor next week. I'll go to the doctor and get checked out next month. And what you're finding out that it's not working, and you're running on empty. So I want to help you refuel, okay? And so we need to look at the Old Testament to learn how. There's a lot of passages of Scripture that we can look at to learn how to refuel, but I want to focus on the Old Testament and hear the words of a great prophet named Isaiah. In Isaiah chapter 40. And before we hear his words, I want to talk to you a little bit about what's taking place here. I want to speak into the scenario that's at hand. It's 700 BC, and the Israelites were taken into Babylonian captivity. It's really bad. It's not looking good for God's chosen people. And see, what's happened is King Hezekiah ran his yapper and was telling the Babylonians about everything they have, giving them a tour of all their riches and wealth. And not only that, the people were not living for their God, Yahweh. And so you put all that together, the Babylonian captivity takes place because of it. And so we fast forward to chapter 40, and the people are discouraged. They are so upset about what's taking place. They are depleted. You see, their city is ruined. Their temple is gone. Their lives are shaken. And the reality is, where they're at right now, their freedom was taken. We are a mess. We are so depleted. We are so empty. It is misery for us. And some of you in here right now feel the same way. You do. You're like, I am so empty in every aspect of my life. So let's look at this passage of Scripture and see if we can get refueled, okay? Isaiah chapter 40, verse 27. Why sayest, this is Isaiah speaking, he said, why sayest thou, O Jacob, and speakest, O Israel? My way is hid from the Lord, and my judgment is passed over my God. Hast thou not known, hast thou not heard, that the everlasting God, the Lord, the creator of the ends of the earth, fainteth not, neither is he weary? There is no searching of his understanding. He giveth power to the faint. To them that have no might, he increases strength. Look at verse 30. Even the youth shall faint and be weary, and the young men shall utterly fall. But they that wait on the Lord, upon the Lord, shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. Here we go. Powerful passage of Scripture, right? In order for us to learn how to refuel our lives, we need to start in verse 27 and look at the situation, a depleted people. Here it is, the situation, a depleted people. Isaiah says in verse 27, why sayest thou, O Jacob, and speakest, O Israel, my way is hid from the Lord, and my judgment is passed over from my God. The first thing that Isaiah does is he addresses the people with two names. Did you notice that? Interesting, right? He says Jacob and Israel, which are both the same people. the children of Israel, God's chosen people. Basically, he's saying this. Let me put it this way. It's kind of like when your mom would get on to you and not just use your first name, but use your first name and your middle name. You remember that? My middle name is James. Don't ever use it, okay? David James Liuzzo, listen to me. Listen to me. Or usually mom would say, Davy James Liuzzo, listen to me. Pay attention to what I'm saying. Isaiah is saying to the people, listen to me. I'm going to speak into your life right now, and this is going to be a direct attention on their calling and their heritage. That's the Jacob and Israel aspect. Listen to me, what I'm about to say to you. And then Isaiah recognizes the condition and the complaints of the people. He reminisces on what he's heard them say, hence their situation being depleted. And it is not looking good. Look at the condition of the people. They're feeling forgotten. You've been there, right? They're overwhelmed. I've been so overwhelmed before. And not only that, they're overlooked. They're like, nobody sees where we're at. See, that's where they're at, but it's probably where you're at. You're maybe feeling the same way. Because of this, they began to complain. Not just complain about life, but they're starting to complain about God. And so, the complaint of the people is this: God doesn't see me. God doesn't see me. Isaiah 27 says, my way is hid from the Lord. You ever feel like God's playing hide and go seek with you? You know, you can't find him anywhere. My dad, when I was younger, used to tell me and my brothers to go hide in the woods, and says, I'm going to go find you guys. We have 5 acres of land. Guys, go hide. We're going to play hide and go seek. So we go hide in the woods, right? We're out there. 10 minutes passes, 20 minutes passes, 30 minutes passes. Then I'm like, hey, Tony, Denny, I don't think Dad's coming. We go in the house and Dad's watching TV. He had no intentions to come find us. He just wanted us out of the house. Now, you would think we would learn from that. But the next time Dad said, y'all want to play hide and go seek? We'd be like, yeah. Dur, dur, dur. He goes, go in the woods and hide and I'll come find you. And you know, we did. And at that time, Tony was 20. No, I'm just kidding. You know, sometimes I feel like God is not looking for me. He's not even aware that I'm in a place that is unstable, depleted. He's not even aware of what I'm going through. And you've been there too. And because of that, we have a tendency to do what they do. Complain. They also said, God isn't helping me. My judgment is passed over. Have you ever thought that God is helping everybody but you? Oh, so-and-so's really doing well. Saw their Christmas. Saw that picture with all those gifts around the tree. Must feel good to have all that money. And I'm on WIC. I'm dealing with just all kinds of financial problems. Where's my God? God showed up for them, but not for me. I remember when I was planting Thrive Church a number of years ago, and I went to my brother's office to complain. I still had an office at Fellowship Baptist Church in Columbus where my brother was the pastor. They were our sending church. And so I went in his office, and there was this one pastor I was thinking about and how he had so many blessings. And I brought it up to Tony. I'm like, Tony, you ever feel like God just shows favor to certain people and other people he just doesn't care? And Tony's like on his computer, not listening to me like he always does. And I said, seriously, man? I'm like, so-and-so definitely has the favor of God. Either you got it or you don't. Stupid. And I wait because I want a little feedback. I want him to encourage me. And he turns and looks at me and says, David, don't work that way. It's not like that. God cares about you just as much as he cares about so-and-so. You just got to wait. In just a minute, we'll find out what that means. Your time will come. God's going to work in your life the same way, just not exactly the exact same circumstances in the same exact way and format. Just wait. Man, I didn't like that because me, at that moment, I wanted him to be a little bit more negative about my situation. God doesn't help me. God isn't there for me. And that's where they're at. That's the complaint of the people. Here they go. They're like, man, Because of this, things are just getting worse because God isn't here. We're in slavery, we're struggling, we've lost everything, and the complaints are just raging. So Isaiah says, I know what you've been saying. And then you see the core problem of the people, and it wasn't the absence of God, but rather their exhaustion. It was depletion that distorted their view of God. And when you're depleted, you will be a grumpy person. Whoever it is in your family, whether it is your kids still living at home or your husband or your wife, is going to feel the tension when you are depleted and empty. Because you're going to be grouchy and you're going to be angry and you're going to be mad. But eventually, your depletion is not going to just affect them. It's going to affect your relationship with God. And it distorts your ability to understand that God loves you. He cares about you. Let me explain. Let me illustrate here, okay? I believe in life we have circumstances, we have connections, we have careers, and we have things we have to care for. And because of that, throughout the day and throughout the week, what we do is we take our life and we begin to pour into those things. Are you all following me? This is what happens. We have circumstances and we find ourselves going through life, enjoying life, and then all of a sudden, we have to pour into something called plumbing. It's like, oh my goodness, we're going to have to pay for more plumbing work to be done. This house is a curse. It's just the circumstances at hand. And you find yourself pouring into that. And then you're like, while I'm working on this, I come to find out that my mom fell. She's 78 years old. She just fell. Come on. I need to get over there and take care of that, but my basement's flooded. And you're just pouring into the circumstances and you're feeling overwhelmed. How many have been there? Yeah. You know where it's all coming from to pour into? It's all coming from your life. You're pulling from your emotions. You're pulling from either physically, emotionally, mentally, or spiritually into this. But it doesn't stop there because now you have connections. You got to go to work. And you have people at work that you're connected with that drive you crazy. Y'all follow me? So you're working with them. You're trying to be patient with them. You're trying to work through things with them. But you also have connections with your kids. You got that 16-year-old. That brain is still developing, and they're not thinking properly. And you're pouring into them. And you're frustrated. Y'all follow me? You have connections with your mom and your dad and your spouse. And those connections can be difficult. Those relationships can be difficult. And the more you dump into those, the more depleted you feel. But it doesn't stop there. Y'all following me? You got cares. You got things you got to care for. Now listen to me. This is true for so many in this room. You're caring for your husband. You're caring for your wife. You're caring for your mom. You're caring for your dad. And you're trying to also care for the little things, like your dog that's half dead. And that hamster your little one wants to hold on to, but it's half dead. And then you're caring for everybody but what? Yourself. You got circumstances. You got connections and relationships. You got care. Have you ever got to the point in life where you're like, man, I can't keep my head above water. I have a doctor appointment I need to go to, but when I'm done with that, I have to take my mom to a doctor appointment, or my dad to a doctor appointment, or my sister's living with me and she's not doing well. I got to care for them and care for this and care. And you're dumping into that. But then you got to go back to work. Y'all follow me? It's like, hey, I got to go back to work. I can't stop. They just called me and said, you got to stay an extra hour. I don't want to stay an extra hour. Maybe you're blue collar and you're like, I definitely don't want to stay an extra hour at work because I have to work outside. And it's snowy and it's rainy and it's awful. And you're dumping into that. And then you run into that person you really don't like at work. You understand? It's depleting you. Oh, Billy Bob is driving you crazy because Billy never shuts his yapper. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You can't get your job done because Billy wants to talk about his life. Oh, you're kidding me. I don't have time for this. Are y'all with me? And he goes back and forth and back and forth. And by the way, let me tell you something. These don't happen just in one week. Sometimes these happen in one afternoon. And you find yourself constantly bouncing between these different things. And you're back to the circumstances because you got to go home and deal with that plumbing issue you never finalized because you shut off the water, but the toilet needs to be flushed. So you go back to that. And then you go back to the connection issue because your kid that just got his license, that's 16 years old, that doesn't have a fully developed brain, just wrecked the car. And you're dealing with that. Guess what? Eventually, you are going to run out. You're going to be depleted. And you're going to find yourself just like the children of Israel in a situation as a depleted people because of the care you need to give, in the career you need to invest in the circumstances, in your connections. And some of you right now feel just like the children of Israel. You are in a situation that's depleted you as a people, and you don't know what to do. Let me explain something to you. The problem is that people don't even realize that their tank of life is empty. And by the end of the day, they want to be there for their spouse. They want to be there for their kids. They need that God and I time, but they're so empty, they can't give anything to those things. Because there's not a reservoir. Y'all listening to me? There's not another tank you can tap into. When I was a kid and I'd do vinyl siding with my dad, he had a dually truck, big old dually truck. And he had 2 tanks in that truck. And he'd drive into the one tank would almost go empty, and then he'd flip the switch right at the right time and tap into the other tank. You don't have that privilege. You have one tank, you have one life, and when it is empty, it is empty. And let me tell you what it empties. It empties you physically, it empties you mentally, it empties you spiritually and emotionally. If you're physically depleted, guess what else is going to be depleted? You're going to be depleted mentally. You just can't think. You're in a fog because you're so exhausted. And if you're mentally depleted, you're going to be emotionally depleted. So if you're physically, emotionally, and mentally depleted, then you're going to be spiritually depleted. You will not take time to spend with God. And eventually, you're just going to get angry with God and stop going to church and stop doing your devotions and shut down. So, it's at this point that Isaiah reminds them of some things. And before he can encourage them of some things, he had to remind them of some things. And I love how he does this. He starts off with 2 questions. Verse 28, O Israel, hast thou not known? Hast thou not heard? In other words, what I'm about to say to you is something you already know and you've experienced for yourself, Israel. I see your situation. You're a depleted people. But I'm going to remind you of some things that you already know, and hopefully this will help you. And these are the same things that we know as believers, but we need to be reminded of in order for us to refuel, in order for us to learn how to replenish the empty tank in our life. So Isaiah reminds them of the source of strength, the omnipotent God they serve. The source is an omnipotent God, and he speaks into it in verse 28. Hast thou not known? Hast thou not heard that the everlasting God, the Lord, the creator of the ends of the earth, fainteth not, neither is weary. There is no searching of his understanding. So Isaiah says, let me tell you about the source that will replenish your life. Let me speak into you for a little bit. And he starts off with a person of God. He breaks down who God is. He says he's everlasting. His person is everlasting. Why is that so important? Let me explain why. And why it's important for you to understand this source and the person of God. We're getting ready for winter, and we notice on the Family Life Center, our gymnasium, that there's some gaps in the roofing. It's a metal roof. So we're like, well, we got a lifetime warranty on that roof. Let's tap into that, right? Come to find out that the company is no longer in business. So if the company is no longer in business, guess what? There ain't no lifetime warranty anymore. And so we find ourselves like, what do we do now? The problem was the company had to shut down. And no company, no warranty. And you see, the warranty was only as strong as the company or the owner behind it. So what's that matter to us when it comes to God? It matters in so many ways, in every aspect, because listen to this. God is not like that. He's everlasting. He will never pass away. He will never fail you. He's everlasting, and what that means is not only is he everlasting, but his promises are everlasting because he is reliable. Listen to this. Psalms 90 and verse 2. Before the mountains were brought forth, even from everlasting to everlasting, thou art God. Jeremiah 10:10. But the Lord is the true God. He is the living God and an everlasting King. Deuteronomy chapter 33, verse 27. The eternal God is thy refuge. And underneath are the everlasting arms. He's holding me. He's protecting me. He's watching out for me. He's not just there for me. He'll never leave me nor forsake me, but also I know that his promises will last forever. Just like 1 Kings chapter 8 verse 56 says, blessed be the Lord. There hath not failed one word of all his good promises. Ain't that great? Isn't it good to know that when you're depleted and you need a source to tap into, that God is that source and his person, who he is everlasting. But not only that, Isaiah says, listen, he's Lord. He's an everlasting God. And this name is the same name that was spoken to Moses out of the burning bush. He said, I am that I am. It's the same root idea. I am because I always have existed. I am Yahweh. I am the Lord, eternal, self-existing, covenant-keeping, the God who never changes and never fails. That's who I am. That's the source that's going to give you the energy to press on, to move on. I'm Lord. And then Isaiah goes a little further and he says, his person is not just everlasting, he's not just the Lord, but listen to me, he is the creator. But I love the way he emphasizes this. Notice Isaiah emphasizes the wording at the end of that, creator of the ends of the earth. Why would he say that? Well, this is a Hebrew way of saying from one extreme to another, nothing is outside of God's reach and God's control. You see, he created it all, he owns it all, and he's the boss of it all. So next time you get up and say, God, just don't understand what I'm going through with this leg, it's just all messed up. He created your leg. He knows exactly what you're going through. So what God don't understand, I'm sick and tired of this weather. He's over the weather, he's in control of the weather, and I got to preach myself about the weather and get over it. God's in control of all things. So no matter what you're going through, the Creator God is in control of it all because he owns it all. That's the person of who he is. But not just his person. Isaiah goes a little further when he dives into the source. He talks about the power. Isaiah says, let me go a little further by backing up who this person is. I can tell you who he is, but let me back it up with his power and what it looks like. I could tell you all day about Superman because I am a huge fan of Superman. I've been a big fan of Superman since I was little. When I was in Columbus, the whole family room, the whole basement from floor to ceiling was Superman. You know, don't make fun of me. Batman's a weenie. Superman is the man. I can tell you about his powers. I can tell you what he can do because he's from Krypton. He's not from this world. He's from a different world, and he can do things you can't even imagine. But until you see it for yourself, by the way, he's not real, so you have to watch the movie, you're not going to fully understand what he's capable of, his strength. I can tell you about God. I can tell you what he can do, but until you experience the power he provides, you really don't fully understand. So Isaiah says, let me get you to understand. He says this, he never is depleted. He in verse 28, fainteth not. Unlike us who grow weary, because of a lack of nourishment, not God. He never runs out of strength. He's never beyond, he has no limitations. He just goes and goes and goes and goes. And he goes for you and me. He says, let me tell you something else about his power. He is never exhausted. Neither is weary. God never is going to get to the point where he's mentally, physically, and emotionally drained. It's never going to come to the point where God's like, oh, Grace Baptist Church is driving me crazy. I just don't know if I can handle this anymore. I'm crashing. I'm having a nervous breakdown. God don't have nervous breakdowns. He don't suffer with depression and anxiety. He's got this. He is never going to faint. He's never going to get weary. And he's never confused or at a loss of understanding, because Scripture says there is no searching of his understanding. You ever found yourself walking into a room and forgetting why you went into that room? Yeah. You walk into the room, you're like, I know I came in here for something. I'll be back. And then you go back to the other room, and then you realize what it was you went into that room for, and you're like, that's it! And then you go back in that room, and then you get distracted when you go in that room, like, oh, well, we need to put this away. And you start putting it away, and then you leave that room and go back to the other room, and you go, wait a second. I forgot to get what I went in that room for, so you go back to that room. Let me tell you something about God. He don't do that. He's never stepped into your life and go, give me a little review. I'm forgetting what your problem was. Let me break out my notepad. I know it's in here somewhere, as if he's a counselor. He is a counselor, but not the same way we see people today counseling. He's all-knowing. He knows exactly where you're at and what you're going through, and he's not confused on it. This is his power. Why is this so important? Because through his power, he brings provision. Now, stay with me. You guys got to get this. This verse isn't in here by chance. It's with purpose. Listen to the very next verse 29 and verse 30. This is what Isaiah says. He giveth power to the faint, and to them that have no might he increases strength. Now listen to verse 30. Even the youth shall faint and be weary, and the young men shall utterly fall. He said, let me tell you something. The provision that the source, this powerful God brings, is for every stage and season of life. He said, I'm talking about his source of strength is for the young adults that are going through life with peer pressure and anxiety and frustration about their future. He said, this source, he's going to bring provision for those that are in the middle of their life, just really getting things going, and their kids are becoming teenagers, and they're struggling with their career. This for mom and dad, these young adults that are stressed out with responsibilities and burning out because of their careers. He said, it's not just for them. This source, this energy, this replenishing that is available to you, it's for the seniors, those that are seasoned in life. You like that? Those that are struggling with illness. They're struggling with circumstances that cause them to feel lonely and forgotten. He said, it's for them too. It's for them as well. It's for every season of life, including the little ones. The kids, they're struggling through elementary school and just trying to figure life out, and friendships and emotions and uncertainty because they see the world going crazy. It's for them too. This source brings power, and because of that, there's this provision, and that provision is for every one of them. Man, that's so important. He closes with the solution to having a renewed strength. This is the last part. In verse 31, he sums it up, and he sums it up by showing how we can have a refueled life, the solution, this renewed strength. Look at the verse 31. But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. But he says there's a requirement. Listen to this. This is very important, or the message is in vain. If you don't get this, you miss it. Isaiah gives only one requirement to having a renewed strength and a refueled life. And that one requirement is one word: wait. Wait. Wait on the Lord. Let me make sure, as we make some practical application here, that you understand what the word means. Because if you don't understand what the word means, then you're going to miss it altogether, okay? What does the word wait mean? Well, it is not the idea of sitting around doing nothing. That's not it at all. So you see, Isaiah is implying that we are to move forward. How do we do that? Well, let me explain. The word wait is a Hebrew word called kaveh. It means hopeful, listen to this, it means hopeful, patient, expectation, trusting God in his timing. Kaveh. And it goes further than that because the application here is illustrated in two ways. Active anticipation. Active anticipation. Catch this, because this is the only way you will refuel your life and have a solution to your problems and have renewed strength. You have to understand the active anticipation and what it looks like. Let me explain it this way. Active. A waiter, we go to Longhorn a lot. We have some really good waiters there. What I've noticed about a waiter is this. They don't just wait. Now, some do, and they're just horrible. They probably ain't going to get a tip. They're just standing around doing nothing, twiddling their thumbs. But a true waiter waits on the table. They go to that person, asking if they need anything because they are serving, right? And in the end, if they serve well, they get some blessings. It's called a tip, correct? And the same goes for us. When we're waiting on the Lord, we understand that we have a responsibility to serve him in the wait. We trust him. We prioritize him. Let me put it this way. Lee Robertson, who preached my college graduation, said it best. I loved how he illustrated this. He held up both hands and he said, life is filled with things, circumstances, cares. It's filled with your career. It's filled with all of these things, connections. If you don't flip the script and look at life like this and prioritize God first, nothing else will work out in your life. Make him the priority. Serve him before you serve your wife. Serve him before you serve your kids. Serve him before you serve anybody else. And in the end, all of it will come together in a way that it was meant to be. Let me tell y'all something. Wait means to be active. Stop sitting on your hands and sucking your thumb and acting like God don't care. Start serving. And when you start serving and you start working and you're active, you're fulfilling what the word wait means. But it doesn't just stop there. It's active anticipation. Anticipation, it's this excitement. Oh, something big's about to happen. You ever been to Disney? Did you like it? Okay, stop. Somebody said no. Who are you? You're not even an American. Some love it, some don't. But kids are blown away by the magic of it all. And if mom says, hey, next year we're going back to Disney, guess what they'll do? Their anticipation gets wound up. They get so excited, I cannot wait because I've already seen what it's all about. And when you are having active anticipation, it's the same way. You already seen what God has done in your life before. Now you're excited and hopeful what he's going to do again. I guess the best way to put it is this. My old dog, Hank. This is my dog, Hank. I'll put him up on the screen here. Hank is 11 years old. He's a Great Dane. He just chilling. He don't get excited about a whole lot. He's older than dirt. Usually Great Danes don't last past 8 years. You know, he's still hanging in there. But when it comes time to go to Nanny's house, y'all listening? The farm, you can't hold him back. When I put the leash on him, it's really the only time we put a leash on him. He knows it's time. I've been there. I've done it. That's what they say down south. I've done it. I've been there. I know what to expect. I'm going to be chasing chickens. I'm going to go after the goats. I'm going to have so much fun. The anticipation is there. Do you know the word right here in the Hebrew literally means tension of a rope? It's like, hey, I'm so excited. You're going to have to hold me back because I know that something great's about to happen. Just like Hank said, I know. Hold me back with a leash because I know something big's about to happen. If you're truly waiting, if you truly want to be refueled, let me say this. You have to get to the point that you have active anticipation. You are serving and excited about what is to come. Man, I hope that's clear to you because it's important to understand. There's never been a farmer that stood in a field going, excited about this crop coming in, that didn't plow the field and plant the seed. He had to do the work before he saw the results in the crop. You better learn to have active anticipation. Isaiah makes it clear that This is something worth waiting on. I'm going to close up. Psalms 27, verse 14 says, wait on the Lord, be of good courage, and he shall strengthen thy heart. Wait, I say, on the Lord. So it's at this moment that the renewal will come, the refueling will come, the refueling that you've been needing. Listen to this. Follow me now. Pay attention. The renewal. God doesn't give new strength. You listen. He renews your strength. It's like swapping out an old dead battery for a new battery. He's renewing you. He's giving you the ability to get through these things. And this is what the results are. Listen to the results. Listen to the results. Isaiah chapter 40 and verse 31. If you will allow God to refuel you by waiting on him, they shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. As we prepare for this time to evaluate our lives, I want you to know, according to this verse, the results of the refueling that God gives is elevation. Listen to this. Acceleration and continuation. Elevation, mount up with wings as eagles. The mount means to rise above the level you're at. You're going to go above those clouds and you're going to see the sun again. See, God once told in Exodus chapter 19, verse 4, the children of Israel, that I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to mount you up on my wings as an eagle and take care of you during their slavery to Egypt. But now he's saying, you're on your own. I'm going to refuel you and prepare you to mount up as a wings of eagles on your own. You've got this. And you're going to, the elevation is going to be amazing because you're going to look at life so much different from the point of view you have. Let me tell you, it's very important to understand. There's this acceleration that we all experience. You'll run and not be weary. This is just everyday life. You'll be able to keep up with the pace of life no matter how hard it gets because the source of your strength has renewed you, it's prepared you, and you're going to get through it. But he said it doesn't stop there. There's this continuation. Walk and not faint. When life slows down and you're finally to a point that you're gathering your senses, you'll understand that, hey, I can do this because I'm not doing it alone. God has refueled me. He's given me everything I need. So as we go into this series, I want you to know that you do not need to power down. Don't do it. You need a reset, and it starts now. With heads bowed and eyes closed, for just a moment as we close with a brief word of invitation, I want to ask you, are you ready to reset? If you are, then you better go ahead and tap into this source because there's power and strength that you need to renew your life.